Welcome to Italics, television for the Italian-American experience. I'm your host, Anthony Tamburri. We're coming to you this month from Cold Spring, New York at the Magazzino Italian Art, a museum dedicated to modern and contemporary art, and it is here in the United States. We're here to visit the exhibit of Maria Lai, an Italian artist who lived throughout most of the 20th century, and we had a wonderful conversation with Paola Mura, the museum's artistic director and curator of Maria Lai, A Journey to America, the first U.S. retrospective dedicated to one of the most significant Italian artists of the 20th century. Maria Lai was a visionary artist known for her textile art, sculpture, and community-driven projects. A key figure in Arte, Povera, her most famous work, Legarsi alla montagna, symbolically connected an entire village with a ribbon. Her art explored memory, language, and cultural identity, leaving a lasting impact on contemporary art. Paola, welcome to Italics.
Thank you very much.
Tell us just a little bit about Magazzino.
First, thank you for coming and welcome to Magazzino Italian Art. Really, we are very happy to have you here. Magazzino Italian Art was founded by Nancy Olnick and Giorgio Spanu in 2017. First, as the opening of their collection about Italian contemporary art focused on Arte Povera. Then Magazzino decided to add this new building in which we are now. It's the Robert Olnick Pavilion. The Robert Olnick Pavilion is dedicated to temporary exhibition like the one we are about to see about Maria Lai. And it also has dedicated space, multi-purpose room for conferences, talks. It has a research and education center, a cafe, and this started in 2023. Magazzino is situated in a park, so there's surrounding area with trees and lawns, and we also have 15 Sardinian donkeys. One is just born. We have these donkeys that have, in a beautiful setting, people and kids love them, and we also have an art installation in the donkeys area. Yes, and in the park there are also several art installations.
So what was the original building? Was it
It was a warehouse.
A factory?
Yeah, factory. Giorgio and Nancy found it. They would be able to share Italian art and culture with other people, and so they renewed the former warehouse. The project was led by Miguel Quismondo, who's also designer, together with Alberto Campo Baeza, who is a very famous Spanish architect. Yes, this building, and so that's the start.
The name is curious, Magazzino.
Well, because Magazzino is the Italian word for warehouse, so this is a Magazzino of Italian art.
We're here in the middle of an exhibition that you curated.
Yes.
Of Maria Lai.
Yes.
And then correct me if I'm wrong and you can continue. Who was from a very small village in Sardinia.
Yes.
Who has made it to New York.
Was made it to New York. Yes. Maria Lai is a very significant figure for art in the 20th century in Italy. And she was born, as you said, in this small village in the central eastern part of Sardinia, from a well-cultured family, and for several reasons, due to her health problem, really. She had to grow up almost alone with some relatives, and she did not attend regularly elementary school, and she learned to draw before she could write or read. And it's important because she mastered the signs very well because she was used to do it. Right. And she also invented story for herself. And so these two themes, drawing and narrative, and the need to invent stories or to be inspired by simple signs that she would see, like in the sewing of the bed sheet, and in the preparation of festivity breads by the women of her community, built inside her an art attitude, let's say.
So you're talking about embroidery.
Embroidery.
The ricamo, right?
Yes,
embroidery.
Embroidery, and also looms and weaving, another thing that was typical of the women of her community. Okay, we are in here now in the loom series,
right.
And these works are inspired by the looms that women in her community would have at home. This is one of her first loom. As you can see, instead of thread, the threads of the loom, she starts to use wooden sticks. And then there's fur, wood, canvas, painting, and everything is in a box. This box is the limit of her representation of this landscape that is made of domestic things, but also other materials referring to nature and the outside world. This is one of the most beautiful telai she made. Questo è bellissimo. Telaio in sole e mare. It's a loom, so you have, all the trame e ordito, the horizontal and vertical threads in a loom. These primary colors in here have a reference to the sun and the sea. She was very influenced in her art practice by the landscape in which she grew.
There was also another woman from Sardinia, right? Who a great writer.
Yeah, the first Nobel Prize for Literature was a Sardinian woman,
right.
Grazia Deledda, in 1926, and Maria Lai designed the funeral monument for Grazia Deledda, Telaio for Grazia.
Io non sapevo nulla di arte non venivo da una città, venivo da un paesino sperduto. Io sono nata in un paese di pastori di capre, quindi l'arte era un pretesto per chiedere a mio padre di andare a studiare fuori, perché non c'erano scuole d'arte in Sardegna. Lui naturalmente non credeva affatto che io potessi fare arte, non solo lui, ma nessuno al mondo, nel mondo di allora, pensava che una donna potesse fare arte.
I read in one of the films, because there are two films here in the exhibit that speak about Maria Lai. There was another writer from Sardinia who had a good amount of fame, Giuseppe Dessi.
Giuseppe Dessi was a very good friend of Maria Lai. Actually, they lived in Rome in the same building. They communicated from one window to another. And Giuseppe Dessi, he won the Strega Prize. He had a lot of influence on her. They even wrote a book in which there were shown writings by Maria Lai and artworks by Giuseppe Dessi. And yes,
It's the opposite.
Yes, and the opposite. Yes, but Giuseppe Dessi, in all the Roman years of Maria Lai lived in Rome from the late 50s until early 90s. It's where her career developed.
Ho cominciato a conoscere anche i musei, ho visto per la prima volta i musei che mi incantavano. Piano piano intuivo, ma ci sono arrivata molto lentamente, ho avuto una maturazione lentissima. Sono passata dalla stupidità totale alla coscienza di qualcosa di importante. Capivo che l'unica strada che potesse portarmi alla libertà, perché questo era il problema, era l'arte. Io ero assetata di libertà
Starting from the end of the 60s, she decides to abandon totally painting. She does not paint anymore. She decided to get back to the material of her land. These are cut pieces of canvases sewn with thread, and she substitutes, the sign of a pencil or a painting or with textiles. Textiles that are derived from her Sardinian traditions. As you can see in here, these are pieces of traditional carpets and tapestry of Sardinia that she uses as campiture. I can't remember the name in English. Campiture, and all these threads that remind you of sewing and weaving.
Questo era un dato di fatto, che io amavo il silenzio. Non è che io non amassi gli altri, volevo anche stare con gli altri, però avevo bisogno anche del mio spazio solitario, perché giocavo.
In one of the two movies that we show, she said, I was invited all the time to these galleries for this show and this opening, and Giuseppe De Sì kept telling me, you should dress up and get there, and show up. Yeah. And she said, but I can't, because I cannot, in my mind, I'm not an artist, I'm someone who's searching. I'm in search, I want to be left alone in my research, and I also hate all these cocktails. And there are all these American artists, they are so tall, and she was very small. She was very small, but that's to say, that she wanted really to do her research and and stay on her own to develop her thoughts, her poetic.
Io volevo solo essere lasciata in pace a giocare. La parola arte era una cosa astratta, perché fare arte, nella concezione dell'arte, era soltanto avere successo. E il successo mi disturbava. E ancora lo penso.
Her art, in some ways, is emblematic of the different periods of her searching.
Yes.
For whatever she
For
was,
whatever.
There's a wonderful quote that I saw downstairs, something about, is it il pane?
Sì, l'arte è pane quotidiano, dilata le coscienze. Yeah. Art is like bread, it expands your conscience. Yeah. Yes. She's always searched for the meaning of art and of being an artist. When she was older, she did structure this thought in a more systematic way, because this search is strongly grounded on her local background, but then nourished by literature and narrative.
Io credo che ci fosse nel mio DNA l'angoscia di chissà quante generazioni di donne che erano rimaste succubi del potere dei padroni. E già tutto questo mio lavorare coi fili è legato inconsciamente ai telai. Ma c'era in me una forza proprio inspiegabile e difficile da controllare, che mi portava a uscire da tutto ciò che mi poteva proteggere.
Collective artworks like Legarsi alla Montagna are based on a local novel, for instance. But then on that, she inserts so many references to the literature of Italo Calvino, for instance. And in the late 50s, Italo Calvino wrote Fiabe Italiane.
Right.
And then again, Ersilia, which is one of the Città Invisibili, the invisible cities of
Italo Calvino.
Of Italo Calvino. In Ersilia, people are tied with a thread, which is what she did.
Very interesting.
That's very interesting.
Here we have three-dimensional, basically, art,
Yes.
right? We're looking at
The looms.
what?
That one over there, the telaio over there, you see, called La Torre, that's in Matera. And this is
which was the
capital for culture. Yeah,
a few years ago.
and one of the most important exhibitions that were in Matera for Capital for Culture was an exhibition about Maria Lai, Tramadoppia was called. And that telaio was donated by Maria Lai to Matera, to the Sculpture Museum in Matera, and this is a loan. And it's very important because it's called La Torre, the tower. So it's dedicated to the tragedy of 9/11, and it's a symbol, you know, of resilience and an homage and you know, significant.
This is a two-story, we should say. This is for our spectators what to expect when they come up here. Hopefully they'll come. This is a two-story exhibition.
Yes.
So there's here, the main floor, and then there's downstairs. And downstairs, there's the later part, right, where she's actually sewing into long pieces of cloth, right?
Yes, the letters is the artwork that's concluded, public
she
and
signs
collected.
it with a stone.
Yes, letters is one of my favorites, really. I love that work.
Yeah.
It is usually kept in the city hall of this small town, Agios, in the north of Sardinia. And it's there since this collective public art event that she set up in 2008 after 3 years of work in that community. And letters is a sort of a final autobiography or self-portrait that is made by dozens of small pages sewn with asymmetric writing or drawn with asymmetric writing, but then, which is a characteristic of her work, the sewn books and the sewn sheet is some of the main artworks she made. But these are peculiar because her signature, Maria, is very recognizable. So it looks like she was 89 and at that time she was really signing and sending letters to everybody. And these letters are connected by thread. The thread is one of the most important Maria Lai's means for art, let's say. Thread is very important for life because you say if we use a thread to connect. Pass,
right, it's a wonderful metaphor.
It's a wonderful metaphor because a thread can pass and unite us, but if we pull the thread away, we stay the same. So we can connect, but to not alter the individuality. As when she used the thread to connect the houses in Ulassai for Legarsi alla Montagna, they were connected by a ribbon or a thread in order to relate people. So there are these threads in the artwork too, in lettere, and then on the right side at the bottom there's a stone that reminds of Maria Pietra, Maria Stone, that is an alter ego that she built throughout her life and narrative.
So let's shift gears for a second and speak about something practical. All this art came from different places, right?
Yeah.
And some of it is exhibited in different parts of Italy.
The work that we see here are in American collections, and some of them instead come from Italian institutions that have Maria Lai in their collection. For the centennial of her death, there was this exhibition at the Maxi Museum in Rome, and it was one of the most visited exhibitions the Maxi has ever had. Really was very crowded.
Dunque, non è stato che un tentativo, come ogni mia opera, è un tentativo di fare arte, che poi non sappiamo se fa gol, però è sicuramente qualcosa che può servire come stimolo perché altri più competenti lo rifacciano.
We're looking at the timeline of Maria Lai's in her career, but what's really nice is that you also have a timeline underneath that follows major worldwide events, but then also what's going on in the art world, beginning with something like futurism or metaphysical art you have here as a reference. And then this is her teacher, as we said, and then there's a photograph of her, right?
Yes, this is a photograph of her in the 50s. She was in Cagliari. She has come back from Venice, where she studied with Arturo Martini, the very important sculptor that we were talking about. And this is, so this is the 50s. In the late 50s, she goes to Rome, and she lives with Rina Dow. This is a portrait of Rina Dow. Rina Dow is important because Rina Dow is her connection to America. Rina had a brother that Maria knew. They first lived in Rome, then he moved to Montreal. She decided to go to America, to go and visit them in Montreal, and from Montreal she went to New York because she wanted to explore the possibility of her as an artist in America, in New York. Okay.
Già per me sarebbe meraviglioso sapere che questa cosa crescerà anche quando io non ci sarò.
Legarsi alla montagna, asking for peace, to ask for peace.
And blue because?
Blue because it's the jeans, but also blue because it's the color of the Holy Mary. And it was this was done on September 8th, which is the feast of the Madonna.
It's bringing, in the sense of the sign of the Madonna, bringing the church into the community, right?
And she also, Maria Lai also, she was very grounded and aware of like social innovation or you know, this is in the 80s. The 80s in Italy are at the end of a terrible decennial, which is the 70s, the years of lead. Terrible. So, and you know what they means that people were fighting, but fighting, I mean,
terrorism.
Sardinia, not terrorism, but kidnapping. That was one of the plague of the 70s, not just in Sardinia, but all over Italy. But the family of Maria Lai was affected. His brother was killed during the kidnapping attempt in the late 50s. That's why she went away also. And so she did want people, what's most important is that in this particular moment in the Italian history, she put the accent on the need to relate, to talk, to define relationship, to escape from the contraposition that was really devastating Italy. What she says is, let's talk. Let's talk, let's define ourselves, let's face each other, and let's also be grounded also in a spiritual and higher feeling, you know.
Potrebbe cambiare il mondo la lettura dell'arte.
She has very important life and she gave an important contribution to art in Italy.
People are watching us at the end of April, and there are 2 more months now.
Until we will be,
right?
the show
end
will
of
be
July?
on the end of July, yes.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
having us. It's
Thank
been
you. Thank
wonderful lesson for us, an art lesson
lesson
for
is
us
too much.
all. And
Thank you.
again, this is our spectators have another 2 months to get up here and to see.
Yes, please. We will be very
Yeah.
happy.
Good.
Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Grazie.
Thanks for watching this episode of Italics. I'm Anthony Tamburri. Arrivederci alla prossima puntata.